Happy Camper Radio.
It's that time once again. Hello, everybody. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper, and this, of course, is the Happy Camper Radio Show, the only place to be when you're ready to talk camping. Camping is what we're about. Camping is all we talk about. There are deals galore just about everywhere you look. And today we're going to talk about some of those dollar store deals where I get a lot of odds and ends to really enhance my camping outfit. Some deals are out there to be had, and all you have to do is go out there and grab them. We'll talk about dollar store deals today on this edition of Happy Camper Radio.
Happy Camper Radio.
And, of course, the Happy Camper Radio Show can be heard all around the world by great listeners just like yourself. You can find us in the iTunes Store and Podbean, Myro Guide, Stitcher, the BlackBerry Podcast Directory, iHeartRadio, Google Play Music, and now on Spotify. Tell your friends to tune in to Happy Camper Radio today. Well, Daniel,
What's up?
What on earth do you have over there?
It's a air horn. All the kids are doing it.
Yeah, all the kids are doing it. And I got one big kid right here in the studio. I bet you drive your wife nuts with that thing, don't you?
That's what she likes.
Oh, yeah, okay.
She likes to be nuts.
Hey, you know, she enjoyed coming over to the campground here the other day.
Yeah, that was nice.
She took over my kitchen.
She did.
She enjoyed that, didn't she?
Yeah, she goes right at it. She likes to tackle everything.
Yeah, well, you know, we had a great time. It was only a couple days, but, you know, it wasn't without little small odds and ends that had to be dealt with while I was over there. How do you like that 10-sleeper tent I've got, or that 8-sleeper tent?
That was huge. That was
wasn't
humongous. That was
the first time I
bigger
set
than my
it
bedroom.
up, put my air mattress in there, got that air mattress inflated, and I had the best 2-night sleep that I have had in a very long time.
I bet. That was pretty comfortable.
Yeah, it was. One of the things, and I want to talk about this here today on the show just briefly. I've got a lot of great compliments on Facebook about the tent itself. But in setting that tent up, and I've had this problem so many times before, Daniel, getting set up by a lake where the air is open, the air is free, and it can blow as loud and fierce as it wants to. It happens just about every time I'm camping and going to set up camp. The wind comes in there, and I had, I'm a one-man show. Keep that in mind. Okay, so I get in there, I get all my gear set out, I open up the tent, and here comes the wind. I extend the tent poles. I start, I do have a sound effect here. I'm not going to dig it up right now.
I got your Foley work right here.
But as I'm trying to set this tent up and I extend the poles, the wind was just unbearable. I am holding onto this tent, hoping it's not going to blow away.
Mm-hmm.
And even those youngsters that came over to camp on Saturday night, and those are a good bunch of kids too. I remember just as it got dark, there's you and your wife going to retrieve one of these tents that's starting to blow away.
It blew away, and they didn't do anything. I guess they were paying attention to something else. We saw it. We're like, oh, boy.
Yeah, well, the kids are going to be kids.
Into the lake. So.
Yeah, you didn't want that for sure, and I didn't want that. But I'm surprised that they, they were, with all the excitement that was going on, they didn't stake the tent down. But they did take care of that.
Yeah,
I was
eventually.
prepared. I had an extra bag of those small tent stakes that I do not use. I was going to give those to the kids, but when they come over there and finally revealed that we have our own stakes and we'll go ahead and stake this thing down, that was that. But anyway, getting back to this 8-sleeper Coleman tent that I have, one of the things that I did notice when I broke camp Saturday night, and I did call it a day early, and that wasn't by design. It just happens this way, Daniel, every time I go camping. And I think I'm going to have some nice weather.
Mm-hmm.
The rain goddess up above looks down on me and says, how dare you even think about having a good weekend without me raining on your fun just one night.
Some people like camping in the rain.
Okay,
if you're like that sound while
if you're
sleeping.
in a camper, if you're in an RV, that's fine.
Yeah.
But when
you're
a tent camper, you still have a mess to clean up.
Yeah.
And that means taking your tent home, setting it up in the backyard on a nice day, airing it out, drying it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't about to do that. And I made the right decision by coming home a day early. But in taking down that tent, one of the things I noticed when I went to retract some of those tent poles, I really had to apply some force to get that done. And that I'm faulting the wind for. I think, those tent poles are very, very, I'm not saying they're very sturdy, but it seems to be just, the wind pressure itself had some effect on that, and there's a slight bend in them or something like that. And I just had a hard time retracting those tent poles. And I've got the tent down in my utility building right now, and on the next night's day, like today, I'm going to go ahead and open the tent back up and figure out exactly what happened there. I'm not going to plan on setting it up again under windy conditions. But, it's just a minor issue that I'm going to deal with, but it's not something you should have to deal with anytime that you go camping. The idea is go in there, have fun, have a great time, and let's hope you're not going to have any problems at all. So
you always want to be ready for problems. It's always important to have, a toolbox or something, because you never know what's going to happen. You're going to need to tighten a screw, ratchet something down. Well, as far as for me and my pop-up, we always bring a little toolbox, because you never know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And I carry one with me. I have all the necessary tools I need to get me through just about any type of emergency. You can get in touch with us here at the Happy Camper Radio Show anytime by calling 404-537-2267. That's 404-537-CAMP. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker. Add us to Circles on Google+, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Right now, Daniel, I am going to go over to the shout-out window because, yes, we have a lot of wonderful folks here who recently signed up with us on social media, and we definitely want to take a moment to say hello to them. First of all, welcoming Brad Jordan, Wendy Howell of Matthews, North Carolina, Bill Slavin of Hartford, Connecticut, Peggy Walsh Liddell of Osage, Iowa, and this young lady, my lovely niece from Allison Park, Pennsylvania, Erin Concanon. I'm being a happy camper out of her, Daniel. Finally.
There you go. It only took 2 years.
Yeah, hey, she needs to bring her brothers and sisters down here. All the nieces and nephews. I would love to go camping with them again and relive some of those old times. Anyway, they like us on Facebook. To Ruberslaw Wild Woods Camping in the UK, Jason Templin RV Service in Mooresville, North Carolina, Patty Jo Grover, Darcy J. of Iowa, and finally, to Josh, who subscribes to our YouTube channel. Thank you all so very much, every one of you. Glad to have you on board, and more importantly, thank you for being a part of this great Happy Camper Radio family. Want to be a guest on the program? Get in touch with me, Skip, S-K-I-P, at happycamperradio.com, and we'll definitely make that happen. Daniel, are you a dollar store shopper?
Yes.
How often do you visit the dollar store?
Once every other week, probably.
I think I got you beat.
Okay.
All right.
I didn't know it was a contest.
Hey, Daniel, I'll tell you what, for what little money you will spend in the dollar store. Now, of course, depending upon if you're going to go in there and just buy the whole store out.
Well,
it's easy to do.
That's the thing about the dollar store. You'll see one thing, then you'll see another thing, and in your head, it's like, well, it's $1. Well, it's $1. Well, it's $1. Then before you know it, you have about 20, 30 things, and, it racks up. So
yeah, and you spend $20 or $30. But think about going to another store where you're going to pay more than just $1 for those same items. Now, maybe the quality is not there, okay? Maybe. All right, but understand this, too. If you are going in there to buy things for your camping outfit, how often are you going to be using that? It's not going to be like everyday items that you have at home.
Right.
And this reminds me so much, Daniel, back in my early days. And unlike you, I was not blessed to have a spouse who enjoyed camping. All right,
you mentioned that when we were camping.
Her idea of camping was a 5-star hotel with all the luxuries, and the idea of sleeping in a tent was just not part of her life. But, hey, she never did stop me from going anytime I wanted to go.
Right.
But back in the early days when I started camping, and I needed some things to take with me on my camping trip, I would simply borrow them from the kitchen drawer and toss them in the box and take them with me. And it just so happens that the items that I took, whether it would be a spatula or a large spoon or whatever the case may be, was an item she needed while I was gone.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. And when I got home, I heard about it.
Oh, you were in the doghouse.
Oh, yeah. Doghouse for a long time.
That's kind of like camping, isn't it?
And
In the
Daniel,
doghouse.
and Daniel, it didn't happen just once.
Oh boy.
But, back in those days, too, we didn't have the dollar stores that we have today.
Uh-huh.
Where we live, they're just about everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to drive a long distance to visit a local dollar store. But I really topped off all of my camping supplies that I needed when I went into the dollar store and bought them there.
Mm-hmm.
You think about some of the things that you're going to need when you're on a camping trip. Now, take you and your wife, for example. You showed up at camp the other day,
right.
and even though you were over there for a short time, we had a great time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we really did.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to eat the food that you were all eating because you're trying to eat healthy. And for me,
we're on the Whole30 diet right now.
Yeah, well, for me, camping is a totally different story. If I'm on a diet, I got to break that diet for a few days while I'm out there camping because I come there to the campground with a lot of items and I leave with a lot of stuff too. And I brought home more food than I really planned on bringing home. But it's amazing. Never shop on an empty stomach.
That's true.
No, don't do that because you're going to plan your menu. You're going to say, wow, I'm going to have this, 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 and this. And you're just not going to cook it all.
Right.
It's not going to happen. If you and your wife would have been there with me all 3 days, you wouldn't have had to worry about food.
Yeah.
All right. You'd have to break that diet you're all on here for a couple of days
I would.
and just be part of it. But you think about watching your wife there at the camp kitchen, and I was really having a fun time. She loved that griddle, didn't she?
Yeah. That was pretty big.
Yeah, I mean, you guys cooked your whole meal in one shot.
Yeah.
On there, and that's the first time I broke that out along with the tent, and I put some pictures of that on social media also, and give you an idea what that camp kitchen looked like. But you also know too that I had all the utensils that I needed when I was there. Everything had its place. I had my spatulas, I had my spoons, I had all kind of odds and ends that I picked up, believe it or not, at the dollar store. And they worked out fine. There was never a problem. I never had to look for anything. And if you're going to be camping on a regular basis, and I talk about this quite often, folks, organization is the key. And I have those totes. I have those large totes. I have those small totes. And everything in there has a place. So it works out well for me. And I've never had a problem going into a dollar store and finding something that I didn't have or didn't already have in my camping supply inventory and decided to pick it up there.
Usually, actually, about the dollar store, when I recently went backpacking with Gary a few weeks ago, and when you're backpacking, you're supposed to bring a lot of food because you're burning a lot of calories. And at the dollar store, there's tons of hiker food, so to speak, to get. There's anywhere from, there's tuna, there's trail mix, there's beef jerky. There's like pretty much I got my whole snack array from the dollar store. And another good thing about the dollar store is, we just got this new pop-up. I think there's a few things in there that the previous owners had, but if you buy a brand new camper or a brand new pop-up, you want to have some dishes, you want to have some plates and some forks and spoons and everything. And the dollar store is the best place to get it because, I mean, like you said earlier, you're not going to be using all this stuff, all the time. So it doesn't matter if it's not top quality. And I think the dollar store is a really good place to start loading up your camper to, head out. So you don't have to do that stuff all the time. You can just load it up, buy all the stuff at the dollar store, load it up, and then you're good to go.
Yeah, and I think it's going to work out well for you all as soon as you get that camper out of the garage and get it set up on a nice day. Mm-hmm. And, Daniel, the weather here in the South lately has not been nice at all. I mean, just rain every other day, it
Hopefully
seems.
Hopefully it's changing.
Let's hope so. If today's any indication, but I think there's rain in the forecast for tomorrow. No, I'm not going camping this weekend. But, I do expect you real soon or your wife to actually begin starting to take inventory for your first camping trip with that camper. Mm-hmm. Very nice, very spacious. I can't wait to get over there and start shooting some videos. But I don't know what your compartment space is like in there where, you have storage. I remember your other camper that you had a big open bin right there in the front. You pop that up and there's all kind of stuff in there. But you're definitely going to want to stock that up and have that all ready for when you go on a trip. So when you do plan on going, you're not going to have to go into the kitchen. You're not going to have to open up the cupboards or open up the drawers and saying, well, I could use this, and this. You'll be able to go ahead to the dollar store and pick these items up, save a fortune in comparison to shopping somewhere else, and have those items there.
I know a big thing that people say, and this is not just for camping, but for everyday use, they say that the best place to get cleaning supplies is at the dollar store because it doesn't come cheaper than that.
Mm-hmm.
And, everyone needs, Dawn or, dish soap when you're going camping because there's going to be some kind of greasy meal you got to clean up. So, those are really good things to get there.
And speaking of which, I did a quick inventory right before I broke camp to see what I may need for my next camping trip. And sure enough, dish soap was one of those things on the list that I had to put down because, you don't want to go camping and find out while you're there that you need something that you have to run out for.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it means running up to the campground convenience store. You shouldn't have to do that. You shouldn't have to take time away from your relaxation. You should really take the time to enjoy and absorb every single minute of your time from the minute you get there to the minute you leave.
Mm-hmm.
Now, yeah, you did touch on something else, too, that was a very interesting point. Yeah, the dollar store has more than just your forks and spoons and paper plates and plastic cups and all those things. They do have food items.
Yep.
All right. And, they're $1, too. Now, I can say that I am not going to go ahead and get some of those hiker foods because I'm not going to go hiking with you.
Mm-hmm.
But, you have talked here extensively about when you go hiking, you've got to prepare and you've got to pack light.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and, yeah. And, Gary, like you were saying, was, we're talking, of course, about Gary Sizer, who are our buddy that we met on the Appalachian Trail,
our
so to
sister
speak.
channel.
Yeah, really. He has his own podcast now?
Yeah, Stories from the Trail.
Oh, my.
With him and Megan.
Mm-hmm.
If any of y'all have read his books, he's got 2 books out, and him and Megan, a.k.a. Voldemort, do a podcast, too. And they call us the sister station, and we're a little bit, intermingled. So,
and that first book that he wrote, he actually recorded the audio version right here in the studios of Happy Camper Radio.
He did.
And it's a great book. You can get it on Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble. It's a great book. You definitely got to pick that up. And what is the title of that book again, Daniel?
The first one is Where's the Next Shelter? And the second one is Home is Forward.
Oh, okay.
I almost forgot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he put that out last year, and it's really good. It's about his other adventures leading up to the Appalachian Trail. It's kind of a prequel sequel. It's more of a prequel, but it doesn't really matter when you read it. If I could do it again, I'd read that one, then the Appalachian Trail one. And it's really, really good.
Well, I'm sure he's busy planning on his next long journey somewhere, wherever that's going to be. I mean, I wish
his next journey is going to be. We did so to touch on this. I don't want to take up too much time, but we did the first about 20 miles of the.
Your mind's gone blank. Yeah. Well,
was...
anyway, Daniel.
Okay.
The thing is, when you go on those hikes somewhere, and you got a whole lot better energy and more energy than I do. I think I'd probably last about a half a mile and have to quit because I'm up there in my ages and I don't have the energy and to actually get out there and do that, although it's fascinating as could be.
Yeah, it was called the Foothills Trail.
The Foothills Trail,
It starts in Oconee State Park and it goes to Table Rock in South Carolina. It's about 78 miles, and we did the first 20. And, when we got done and everything, he said, hey, if you want to just section hike the whole thing, just let me know the next time you want to go. And so we did the first 20, and then the next time we're going to do the next 20 and, go from there.
Mm-hmm.
It was really fun doing it.
Yeah. But getting back to the dollar store deals, Daniel, and there's a lot of things that you can buy there. You mentioned your paper plates. That's one area right there that I will kind of stay away from when it comes to dollar store deals because, case in point, the campsite that I had reserved over at Georgia Stone Mountain Park, and it was beautiful. Don't get me wrong. If you looked at some of the pictures, I was right there by the lake. I wouldn't have chose any other spot. The only unfortunate part that I had with that particular spot is there was no picnic table.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm going to sit down and eat, I had to actually sit in my camping chair, and I had to balance the food that was on my plate. And some of the paper plates, I mean, you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
You can get some super cheap paper plates, but I don't need anything flimsy that's going to knock the food on the forest floor, and then I have to start over again. So I'm definitely going to have, and I do have with me in my box, some of those really heavy-duty paper plates.
Okay.
And again, they're disposable, so I don't have any dishes to worry about. But, there's some things you're going to want to buy and spend a little bit more money on. And I would say the paper plates are probably going to be one of those things. Any item that you can get in the dollar store cheap, like your cups, your plastic forks and spoons, whatever you need, you can get them there. And for me, like I say, I'm pretty well set right now. It kind of worries me in a way because when I do go in there, I'm like you. Yes, I walk up and down the aisles and I start looking for things that I do not have. But you keep this in mind, too. The more that you buy, the more that you're going to be carrying with you and the more you're going to be carrying home. And there's going to be some items you're probably not even going to use. And I find that when I go camping, too. I would rather have everything that I need there and not use it than come to find out I'm going to go to camp and I'm missing something and have to go out and get it elsewhere. Those type of things, I just can't deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it works well for me, the setup that I have.
Yeah, I mean, another thing is, I mean, they have electronics. I mean, it's amazing the kind of stuff that they have. They have everything from dish soap to electronics to, forks and spoons and, even a can opener. I know that we've gone out camping before and, we had everything but a can opener. So, there's that. And I was going to say, it's not a dollar store, but those Five Below stores, they're pretty good. I mean, they're $5 and below. So, I mean, you can find a lot of good stuff there that's pretty decently priced. And, it's not a dollar, but, you find a lot of good deals.
Mm-hmm.
So, but, I mean, yeah, the problem with the dollar store, in my opinion, is you don't know you need it until you see it there. And oh, yeah, I need this. Oh, yeah, I need this. I need this. And, yeah. I mean, the dollar store is great and everything, but that's how they kind of get you. And then you want to get a Coke on the way out.
So, yeah, I mean, I've got to admit that before my next camping trip, and I have no earthly idea where I'm going to be going next. It's probably going to be a little while before I actually venture out again. I'm definitely going to wait until the weather is a little bit better. When I know I can go and don't have to be dealing with high winds and rain or anything like that. But the main reason I went last weekend is, number one, I had a 3-day weekend, and number two, I had planned to go camping on a week-long trip up in the mountains the week before, and all it did was rain.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so highly disappointed. And when I saw a break in the weather last weekend, I decided, hey, I am going to go. I am going to get out of here just for a couple days and get away and relax. And, I had planned for 3 days. 2 worked out, and I'm all set to go again. Again, like I said, I don't know when that's going to happen, but hopefully it will be soon. You mentioned a place that you and your wife are going to go camping, not very far from here, right?
Fort Yargo.
Uh-huh.
We're probably going to be going there mid-April.
Okay.
Like a couple of weeks before we go up to Tennessee. Probably just, check everything out, make sure everything works and everything. And, yeah, we just got brakes put on the camper, which helps it stop. And, it's a lot safer when we're up in the mountains. But, yeah, we're going to go up there and, test everything out, kick the tires and, light the fires. But, yeah, I mean. And
did you just make that up?
I did.
I bet you did.
Yeah, and then we're thinking about going up to Tennessee, to Knoxville and Nashville, and then back to Chattanooga because I love Chattanooga and I love Tennessee as much as I love it here. So
yeah, and that's not very far away for a drive, even if for just a couple days. And like I've talked about before, my idea of a short distance camping trip is anything less than 100 miles. And Chattanooga is not that far away from here.
It's about an hour and a half.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you can go up there for a few days and just kick back and relax.
Mhm.
But there's a lot going on out there. A lot of good camping days ahead. I hope that each and every one of you have the opportunity to get out and do some camping. Take the kids. Believe me, the kids will enjoy it. And Daniel, those kids that came over there camping at Stone Mountain Park, even though they were in my company here for just a day, just watching them was relaxing.
Really?
To see how much fun they were having. And kids like that are going to wind up being very well-rounded, well-mannered adults. And I think camping does that to each and every one of us. It's time now for our featured campground of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show.
Happy Camper Radio.
And this week, we're going to take you to the state of Mississippi. We're going to go to the Davis Bayou Campground. It's part of Gulf Island National Seashore, run by the National Park Service. Davis Bayou Campground is located east of downtown Ocean Springs, Mississippi, and it's part of the Gulf Island National Seashore. Visitors enjoy camping for its easy access to boating, fishing, biking, and, of course, Daniel's favorite, the hiking trails. The campground is nestled among live oaks and pine trees, and it's adjacent to saltwater marsh. Most campsites offer some shade throughout the day, and all offer a tranquil setting for migratory birdwatching and picnicking. The campground is open for reservations year-round. It contains 52 sites with electric and water hookups. Sites can accommodate tents and RVs, big and small. The majority of the sites are 40 feet in length. The group site with water hookup is also available to parties with a minimum of 10 individuals and a maximum of 40. So if you're taking a group out, this is going to be a great campground to consider. Amenities include flush toilets, showers, drinking water, and a dump station. A lot of nearby attractions and phone numbers there that are available for you to call if you have any questions at all. Check out their activities and amenities right there on their website. Also, a list of know-before-you-go items. You definitely want to check these out before you make your reservations. But if you happen to be traveling through Mississippi, this is a wonderful campground to consider. And if you haven't already signed up for a recreation.gov account, here's your opportunity to do so. Click on the link this week at Happy Camper Radio, and you'll find a link right there at the top of the page, a little gray box that says sign in or sign up. And if you want to make your reservations through recreation.gov and you have an account, it makes your reservation process go so much smoother. It's a place to consider if you want to go to the state of Mississippi, plan on being there anytime during the year. Consider the Davis Bayou Campground. It is our featured campground of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show.
HappyCamperRadio.com.
And as always, if you have a campground you'd like for us to feature on the program, get in touch with me, Skip, S-K-I-P, at HappyCamperRadio.com. Make sure you include a link to the campground website. Daniel, it was a great pleasure having you back in the studio again,
Woohoo.
and we're going to be doing it again real soon, I'm sure. Definitely keep me posted on your camping trip plans.
I
We're
will.
up there in Winder, all right? Because
I
I'm
will.
looking forward to possibly going up with you, if
Okay,
you don't
that's
mind
cool.
the company. Of course, you know,
Absolutely.
hey, like I say, I'm the hardware store, too. So anything you don't
Exactly.
have, anything that you're missing in that box, yeah, you'll be right on over to get it, I'm sure.
That's true.
You came over to borrow my compressor today, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so that goes to show. Remember, friends, every pet deserves a loving home. Do like I did. Visit your local shelter and adopt a pet today. You can find us online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at www.happycamperradio.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Cam Talker. Add us to Circles on Google+, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The Happy Camper Radio Show is a presentation of Skip Huber Productions. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper. Daniel's a happy camper. Yeah. And you hang around with us long enough, and I promise we will make a happy camper out of you. We'll be talking to you again real soon. Have a good one, everybody. You're listening to Happy Camper Radio.
Happy Camper Radio.